Hi, I'm Alex.
And I'm Kris, and you're watching
Thanks! We Made It with Alex and Kris. Today is a special day. Sure, if you want it to be special.
Every day is special.
We're talking about 70s horror today, and it's special to me because I love 70s horror. It's a big deal to me considering it came right off of a lot of, like, the Grindhouse films that were produced in that time and that era. It's just it's one of my favorites. It's right up there with the 80s for me. Love Grindhouse so much. So this one was a little tough because a lot of the ones that were that I was researching, it's like this is bad, and I was like,
is it though?
So that it was a little bit harder for me, but that was to be expected, and I kind of expected that same challenge, following 80s
right.
too, so.
It's a little easier for me. Like, I like bad movies, but the 70s were, like, they had a lot of bad movies in the 70s.
They sure did, yeah.
So
I don't disagree.
Easier. I think, like, 2 of the ones I have on my list have been on, like, every worst movie, not even just horror movie, the worst movie of all time lists. So.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So let's get right into this.
Yeah, I'm just going to dive right in. All right, number 5. For number 5, I'm gonna go with Stepford Wives. So I don't know what it is about the original Stepford Wives. I just don't really see it more of like a horror.
Town of Stepford, the men are getting exactly what they always dreamed of. Perfect wives. And the dream is becoming a nightmare for the Stepford Wives. A very modern suspense story from the author of Rosemary's Baby.
I guess it's more of like a thriller.
It's a thriller, and it is commentary, because I've read the book by Ira Levin. If you haven't read the book, do read it. And yeah, I think they missed a little bit of the mark in that one, and they definitely missed it in the new one with Matthew Broderick and Nicole Kidman. Like,
they made that weird.
Yeah, they missed the whole thing of the book.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think they missed the messaging, and that's why you're feeling the disconnect from it.
Yeah, I think, like, I don't know if it was, like, too blatant, or if it was too... I'm not really entirely sure what about the original one I hated, but I couldn't do it. And, like, the new one, like, with Matthew Broderick and Nicole Kidman, it was really dumb, but it was at least fun.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
That movie's a lot of fun, and I actually really like it. Like, I'm not gonna lie. But
it's funny.
Yeah.
I would put that under dark horror or dark comedy.
Yes.
I wouldn't put it under horror. Not even horror comedy.
No, not even close.
So that's what I mean by they missed the thriller aspect of it, as well as in the book. Like, he's making the point that wives. It's a whole point.
You're supposed to be submissive and not really worry about what you want to do or
I don't
be empowered.
I'm trying not to dive into feminist studies here,
because we won't stop.
Right.
That's really the reason why. Because I have a lot to say on that shit too.
The 70s is also chock full of a lot of like women's and minority issues and stuff in horror and film in general in the 70s. So.
Oh yeah, the 70s. I mean, obviously,
we were figuring some shit out in the 70s. But yeah, I would recommend reading the book for sure over either of the movies if you really want the story. But the movies, I recommend the new one.
Yes, please. It's funny as hell. Okay.
All right. My number 5 is also probably going to piss off a lot of people because it has an 80% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
No.
But okay, so here's the thing. This is our list. These are our opinions. And so I hate this movie. Yeah, so if you like this movie... Good on you. I hate this movie. The Omen. From 1976.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
You're going to piss off a lot of people.
I know I am in the extreme minority here. But, guys, I find this movie so incredibly boring.
For generations, the Thornes have been a family of tremendous wealth, position, and power. The perfect marriage of Ambassador Robert Thorne and his wife Catherine was fulfilled by the birth of their son, Damien.
And I saw the remake in theaters with my dad, because I was like, cool, we can go see a movie that came out when he was young, and we'll go see it together. And it was almost the same exact fucking movie, but less good. Like, this one is better. I will say, the 70s one is better than the remake they did with Julia Stiles and Liev Schreiber. But yeah, I find this movie boring. The niche genre of like religious horror has never really sat well with me, and I think it's because of my own background where I had problems with Catholicism while I was going to Catholic school.
Yep.
And so for me, those movies weren't an escape at all. It was like more of the same, just people bending things to what they want it to be in the Word of God. You know, it's a lot. I have a lot of baggage where religion is concerned.
No, I understand. I'm kind of with you on that one. Like, I grew up with a lot of, like, religious imagery and a lot of, so watching a lot of films that involved demons and Catholicism.
Right, it kind of loses me. Unless you're Constantine. I love that movie. Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. I mean, I like them. I like that subgenre. Like, I'll definitely watch it because to me, it's fucking terrifying because I've had some experiences that were very scary and I didn't know what it was about. So, of course, when I watch those
you're like,
movies, you're like, it hits a little too close to home for me.
Well, that could be an answer, and that's not good.
Right, exactly. It's like, I mean, obviously I was never possessed by the devil, but, like, I've had some stuff happen where I'm like, you know, it was very questionable, and it's like, I'm going to back away, and I'm going to...
No questions asked.
I'm going to cleanse, you know, I'm going to seek out some help for this.
Get some sage.
Yeah, so, like I said, like, you know, I'm you know, very spiritual.
Right.
And so... that's the reason why I kind of don't like to watch those regularly is because I do truly believe in that stuff and it's terrifying to me. So,
right.
Yeah, no, those are scary.
Yeah, to me, The Omen was just nothing but boring. But it was so boring.
If this is the truth, where does it end?
I like Gregory Peck. I do. Don't like him here. I will admit the kid who played Damien was creepy as fuck, but most kids are creepy as fuck. Like, they've got creepy down.
There were some good parts and some okay parts, but The Omen isn't my favorite, so I can see why.
Yeah, it's boring. But the original Omen, 1976, not for me. I hate it.
Boo. All right, are we on number 4?
4.
Cool, number 4. So I am gonna bring up a David Cronenberg film. I'm already not a big David Cronenberg fan. I don't really like tons of creature feature, body horror type stuff.
I like some body horror.
There are some, I have some exceptions. You know, there are some films that are exceptions, but like David Cronenberg as a whole,
He's a lot.
I really, like I've seen I do like some of his movies, but
like
not really. No, I liked Shivers a lot. I liked Scanners.
There you go.
Scanners was pretty cool. And Videodrome. I loved Videodrome. A lot. Yeah, that's actually a great film. But I want to talk about Rabid.
Oh.
So I actually saw this movie and I fell asleep halfway through.
Yeah.
And I did at one point eventually watch the whole thing through. But it was just so boring. I don't know why. I mean, I felt like to me, he was just rehashing a lot of his, you know, again, a lot of the shit that, like, he has nightmares or dreams about. It's like, you know, he had a dream about it, and so he made a film about it. And like, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I love Scanners, Shivers, what was the other one I said? Videodrome. You know, it's like, that's a lot of fever dream stuff.
Right.
Like, for fucking sure, you know. But, I don't know, I felt like Rabid was the weakest of
He's got a new one coming out.
Does he really?
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but I talked about it on the news and we featured the trailer, and it's about, like, people who, like, give away, or it's, like, art to, like, cut open their body and, like, give away their body parts or stuff, and then he's selling an NFT of his kidney stones that were taken out of his body. It's a picture of his kidney stones, and then he's like, I might throw the kidney stones in with it. I was like... That seems right for this dude.
This is why I don't really care for David Cronenberg as a whole. Because, like, there's a line, you know, and that's, I don't know, man, it's a little bit of a line for me. I think that's a little odd, but, you know,
and that's coming from my kidney stones, let alone someone else's kidney stones. Like, the picture did look kind of cool, I guess. Like, I don't know.
I mean, like, when I say it's odd, like, that's really saying something. Because I'm really into weird shit.
When I broke that story, I was like, this is the most David Cronenberg story.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is the most, yeah.
Yeah, this guy, dude, if you don't know who David Cronenberg is, please look it up.
Please look him up.
Educate yourself.
And watch, seriously though, I would watch a couple movies.
Yep.
Like, Scanners for sure is a classic. That I would say, like, that and The Fly.
That and The Fly are the two biggest and
Yeah.
I think most popular of his.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, for sure. I didn't care for The Fly, but I understand its importance and its place in cinema. So those are the two I would...
I'm on it, too. So it's not my favorite. It's not my worst. It's...
Yeah. I understand. Hell yeah.
But this was boring. She was right.
Yeah, no, it was the weakest of his films, for fucking sure. I just, like I said, I fell asleep. I couldn't...
Never a good sign.
No, and I couldn't really remember a lot of it. But I have seen it, so... All right.
So my number 4 is called Night of 1,000 Cats. And it is like the B-est of the B movies. It's from 1972. It's got a 35% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, God.
While I like the idea of an army of killer cats, this movie was just so bad, you guys. Like, it's poorly written, poorly shot, very poorly edited. Like, I don't know. I should have looked up who the editor was. Like, the editing's bad. So, like, the Hugo, the main guy, like, he flies around in his helicopter and, like, picks up women to kill. And it's like, okay, all of these women disappearing and nobody has questions. Like, the authorities don't have questions. Like, nobody's wondering where these women are. And he feeds the bodies to his army of cats. Cool, got it. Why does he keep the women's heads in crystal cages? That's never quite explained. I would like an answer, beyond just 'cause.
Weird.
Right. And if the bodies are meant to feed the cats, there's also, there's also several scenes of his assistant guy, what's his name, Gorgo, disposing of bodies in incinerators. So, like, which is it? Is it bodies in the incinerators or bodies in the cat food? Like, I don't know, it's just a lot of inconsistencies in the movies. He winds up killing his Gorgo assistant guy because he beats him in chess. Like, yeah, it's...
that sounds like a fucking garbage fire.
Right. This is one where you can't just shut your brain off and enjoy a movie. You have to literally have a lobotomy in order to enjoy this movie.
Damn!
Right.
By themselves, they are only a harmless pussycat. 1,000 strong, they become a man-eating machine.
Okay, but yeah,
Doesn't
so...
make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's a mess of a movie, you guys.
After seeing this terrifying movie, you will never be able to look another cat in the eye.
I do like that at the end, his army of cats turn on him and kill him. Cause
that's cool.
Why would you not? Like...
I feel like in a film like that, you would have to at least...
Right.
Yeah, you would have to have something like that.
Right. I've got 4 cats. I'm on my way to building my army of 1,000 cats.
The management of this theater offers free burial insurance to anyone who dies of fright during the film. Caskets are optional on the West Coast.
I have never seen this movie, so I have no comment.
Yeah, I don't even remember how or when. It might have been like an on-demand movie or something where it just popped up and I was like, cats. Because I watch things with cats in them.
That's fair.
So, yeah, but... I don't know how I saw this movie, but I remember it vividly because I was like, what the fuck is this?
Why?
When the cats are hungry, run for your lives.
Hey, number 3. All right. Well, as many of you know, I'm a huge George A. Romero fan. I love him so much. He's the reason why I am a cinephile. Yeah, but he's the reason why I'm a cinephile, and he's the reason why, you know, I have such an intense interest. You know, I love him to death, and he's got a lot of great films. And it's not just the Dead movies, you know, that are the creme de la creme in horror. It's not just those. He's made a lot of other stuff, and he actually got his start, you know, and doing a lot of commercials for Pittsburgh, a Pittsburgh
Didn't he
television
work on
station.
Mr. Rogers?
That was the first thing he directed. Anyway, but the one movie, in my personal opinion, that is his weakest, was the Crazies.
Yep.
No,
They remade this movie too.
They did, and it's way too fucking similar. It's way too similar to a zombie film. And I don't know why he just didn't make it a zombie film. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just... I'm not really entirely sure what his end goal was for this, but it's his weakest.
Yeah.
It's his weakest film, 100%. It just, you should have just made it a zombie film. You should have made it part of your Dead series. I feel like I would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah, I can't believe they remade it too. I was like, of all the movies to remake.
I know. I know. Yeah, I
everybody's got their one bad one.
I agree. All right,
so my number 3. Okay, so Bloodthirsty Butchers from 1970. It has a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. And let me tell you the exact reason why I hate this movie. I would have been fine with it if it wasn't trying to be a retelling of Sweeney Todd. I fucking adore Sweeney Todd.
I concur.
I love Sweeney Todd. So
Sweeney Todd's fucking
I
awesome.
have tried to see, because a lot of people have made different variations and versions of it. Like this one though, like, I don't know if it would have saved it, but it's not even like a musical. Like if it had music, maybe, but like it looked like the filmmaker. You watch this movie and it's like the filmmaker. He's just discovered film, because like the framing is so weird. Like he'll cut off either people's heads or their chins for no reason. Like, so you're not getting everyone's full face. Like, and they'll be the only one on the screen. Like, the very beginning, there's this boring ass scene where the guy's in the chair and giving a guy a shave, and they're talking, and like, for some reason, when he goes to look out the window, tell me why this is what we're seeing. Like,
I think you need
framing, dude. Frame.
Right? You need to reevaluate, like, what a close-up is. You know what I mean? Like,
right. And I know the budget was only
guidelines. Yeah.
The budget was only $18,000. Cool. But they've made some great movies for that kind of money, and this is not it. It's like they use
100%.
It's like they used the cheapest camera ever made, because the footage is like, I don't want to say grainy because that's not right, but it just, I don't know, it looks like a home movie from the 70s. Like, it looks like they're using a home video camera. The acting is bad, except for the guy who plays Todd. He's okay. I think he's the best actor in the movie, which is not saying a lot. And then, okay, so yeah, they add in all kinds of extra, like, love story stuff to it, too. So, like, Mr. Sweeney Todd has a drunken wife, okay, which, what? First of all. Second of all, his mistress is Mrs. Lovett, but he also cheats on both of them with a singer. And then the singer is also married and cheating on Todd and her husband with another guy. Like, what?
Why? Why would you do that?
Why do we need all of this? Like, are we making Sweeney Todd the soap opera? Like, what the fuck is this movie?
That's just weird.
And all the time he's lusting after shop girl Joanna, who in this version is a shop girl. And I can't remember. Yeah. I'm hoping that she's not related to him. I can't remember whether or not they did have her be related to him.
Let's fucking hope she wasn't.
I really hope she wasn't.
That'd be weird.
The one redeeming quality is that it does focus on gore, like the very first scene I was telling about, like he chops in dude's hand and then like they show him chopping the finger and they show him holding, but it's very amateurish, like props, like it's stuff that I would be using like in our movies, like it's This movie just makes me so mad because it's trying to be Sweeney Todd. Like, I feel
like a different take on it, but a really bad take on it.
Right. Yeah. I hate it so much. I hate it.
I don't blame you. Yeah, I've never seen it, so I don't have anything, like, too much to add to it, but I also do love Sweeney Todd a stupid amount. And even just, like, listening to what, like, you're explaining about this movie, I already hate it.
All right, so number 2.
All right. Wow, we're moving right along here. Number 2, okay. Kind of like I was saying with David Cronenberg and with George Romero, I mean, they're good filmmakers and they definitely have their place for sure in cinema. And that also includes Tobe Hooper. So every classic filmmaker, like every filmmaker who was basically a staple in the beginning of the horror genre, they all have one bad movie.
They all faltered a little.
They all have one bad movie. And I'm coming for you, Tobe Hooper, rip. But like,
right.
I do have to say, I do have to come for you here. Eaten Alive.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I knew that was the one you were gonna go. I knew it.
Why? Like, it was so fucking stupid. It was not even. This kind of came off the coattails of Texas Chainsaw
A little
Massacre.
bit, yeah.
It was made shortly after.
If you were one of the millions of moviegoers who were electrified by the unbearable suspense and sheer terror of Jaws, get ready for Eaten Alive.
I'm really not entirely sure what Toby was trying to do and what kind of fear he was trying to elicit or what kind of themes he was trying to provide in the film. I have no idea. Like, no, seriously, tell me. I have no fucking idea. Like,
I'm lost. I don't know.
There's an alligator, and then there's a family that stays in a hotel, but the hotel's really fucked up, and there's a lot of weird people in the hotel.
Like, yeah, it's
kind of like
everywhere.
Kind of like a Firefly, House of a Thousand Corpses type vibe to it. But there's an
without
alligator.
Without the cool, like, music video, like, imagery.
Well, definitely without that. There was none of that in this movie.
Like, that's what saved House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
And Rainn Wilson.
Of course. You know, and just, like, the weird side plots of a lot of the guests who stay in that fucking hotel.
Too many side plots. Way too many.
Yeah, it's like, okay, but what are we, like, what's the main point of this movie?
What do you want us to know here?
Is this a fucked up hotel? Is this just about an alligator eating people? Like, it was all over the place, and it did not make for a good movie.
I don't even remember the ending, honestly. Like,
I don't either. I can't remember.
I have no idea how it ends. Can't remember.
I
saw it years ago, though. Like, I was a kid.
I can't, like, off the top of my head, I can't remember what happens. And the only reason why, you know, I put this on here, so, like, it was about a couple weeks ago, I was kind of scrolling through Shudder, and they had put on a whole bunch of Tobe Hooper films. So they put on, like, Eaten Alive, and they put on Funhouse. So I was, like, so excited. I was like, oh, hell yeah, you know, today's a Tobe Hooper day. So I watched Funhouse because I loved Funhouse. I thought Funhouse is really fun. Pun totally intended.
I love Funhouse.
Hell yeah. Funhouse was so great. Like, it's such a blast to watch.
It really is.
And I actually saw that film for the first time at a drive-in, which was really cool. That was an experience. And then so after that, I decided to watch Eaten Alive. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember this film, and I just can't really remember what happens, but I'll try it again. And then I remember why I can't remember what happens. It's because it was so bad. It was all over the place, and in my personal opinion, the weakest of Tobe Hooper's films.
Agreed. Number 2. Alright, so my number 2 is a pretty infamous movie. It's called Snuff.
I know of it.
Yep, from 1975. And I'm one of those people, like, I've got that morbid curiosity. I was like, okay, I heard that, you know, I heard all the controversy around it and everything. I was like, well, I've got to see it. Like, so, yeah, 1975. It's got a 25% on Rotten Tomatoes for audience score. But here's the thing is, I've never been a violence just for violence sake kind of person.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this movie is. Like, I understand violence in retaliation. I understand violence as a means of evil. Like, but violence just to be violent is, yeah.
Like, just to be artful.
Yeah.
Or make art. That's a little weird to me.
Which is what this is. It does feel a little, exploitation, grindhouse a little bit, but not in a good way. Not like the good aspects of those genres. Yeah. It started as a super just low budget film from Michael and Roberta Finlay, who are big grindhouse directors.
I'm aware.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, she'll know that.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And it was under the title of Slaughter, so it wasn't even called Snuff at the time. And what the original movie was about, which is still somewhat in the film, is about a group of biker gang. It's a biker gang, but they're girls, but they're led by a male who goes by Satan. So it's very Manson
I was
cult.
just about to say, like, that sounds
a lot of stuff in the 70s had a lot of Manson cult stuff in it. Like,
I mean, well, to be fair, it was great inspiration. Look how fucked up that was.
Right, for reals. So yeah, it inspired a lot of movies, and not all of them can be great, you know?
Of course.
And that's what this one was, but it wound up getting shelved. And then a financier took a settlement so that another film could use the title Slaughter. So later in 1975, film distributor Alan Shackleton, which, you probably know his name too if you're big in the horror. He was a big time low budget producer and stuff. He saw a news report about these supposed snuff films that were being made in South America and got inspired. So he took this film that was already half made and decided that he was going to finish it and whatever. So he I think the film was finished. That's what it was. It was finished, and what he did is he took the credits off of it and added the end scene. And this is without the original filmmaker's knowledge or permission. Ooh. So they didn't know that he was doing this. Oops. So what he did is he cut off the credits and he added a scene, a very realistic scene of what appears to be one of the actresses getting murdered on camera. Fuck. Yeah. So there's a lot of history behind this movie. It's
very Cannibal Holocaust.
Right.
Level. Wow.
So then he marketed the movie, and this is the part that made it kind of infamous, is he marketed it as if it was a real thing. Like, come see this snuff film, you know, we really do kill someone in it. And it was almost the same kind of brilliance in marketing as Blair Witch had, sure, where it got people to really believe that this happened. Mm-hmm. I think they had to testify in, like, Congress or something that it didn't happen.
Yeah, same thing with Cannibal Holocaust. Yep. I believe it was like the Italian government. They actually brought the filmmakers to trial. Right. And
maybe that's
intentionally,
what
yeah, and with Cannibal Holocaust, after the film was released, the directors and producers intentionally made sure to tell the actors, like, hey, stay off the fucking grid.
Yep.
We want to make this
which
as
is way easier back then than it was for the Blair Witch kids.
Yes, yeah. So they explicitly told them as part of them being part of the film, like, you need to like lay low. So of course the government, the Italian government, was like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Like, you killed these people on camera and you could go to jail. You could die. Yep. And so eventually, they had a trial and they brought all of them in and they're like, hey guys, like, we're alive now.
Hi.
Or we've always been alive. This was just a movie. So then the Italian government was like,
except they really did kill that fucking snake, and that's why I'll never watch that movie.
They did kill real animals. That's
why
was
I'll never
a turtle.
Watch. I don't want to know. I'll never watch it.
Yeah,
the snake I was out at the snake. So yeah. And I love turtles. I like snakes. I love turtles. Don't want to know.
Yeah.
So
there was that was pretty intense. So that is a really intense movie, and I really honestly don't recommend it if you, if you just if you have a hard time dealing with that. I mean, of course I did too when I first saw it. I was really hesitant because I was like, I don't want to see animals get killed. I really, really fucking don't. But it's again, my curiosity got the better of me.
That's where my morbid curiosity ends. It ends with human, like, I'll watch any human be killed.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
when it comes down, I'm like, out. Nope, I'm out.
No, I
so
100% get it.
But this is exactly why I saw Snuff. It's probably why a lot of people saw Snuff that did see it.
Sure.
Is because of its cult legendary status and this scene that was added. But all in all, guys, the whole movie is just overall bad. It's bad filmmaking. There's no linear, because he just, like, the scene is just plopped down at the end with no intro. Like, there's nothing leading to the scene. The acting's not great. It's just a bunch of cliches from the genre as well as the real life crime that is being, mimicked here. Sure. With the Manson family. And this film doesn't know what it is at all. Like, at all.
Yeah. No, it sounds shitty. I haven't seen it, but it sounds pretty shitty, and I'm not gonna watch it.
All right, we gotta move on. So number one,
Eraserhead.
Oh, I don't agree.
I fucking hated Eraserhead.
Don't agree.
I hated that shit. It was boring. It was too much along the lines of like an art film, which I love. Like, I don't want anybody to misunderstand me. I love art films.
Hate
and
what
I love...
you hate. You're allowed to hate it.
No, I do. I love art films. I love weird fucking cinema, like a stupid amount. But I just could not get behind Eraserhead. I don't know what it was. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck it was, but like, I just could not. I'm like, this is just... it was almost like too much along the, you know, it's
surrealism.
art. Yeah, it was almost like too surreal. It's like taking a real life situation, you know, a borderline real life situation. Well, I mean, like, basically, and by real life, I mean a couple having a baby.
Right.
You know, that's it, because clearly anything else after that is not real. Right. But, you know, you take, like, a situation, you know, like that, and then make it, you know, weird and art, and I don't know. I feel like it could work in anything, like, you know, it might work in something else, but for some reason it did not work for me in Eraserhead. I can't explain it.
I like it, but I could see why people wouldn't. Mm-hmm. And I think it is kind of a divisive film. Like, I'm not sure what the score on it is, but it is, like, you either like it or you don't. Like, there's not really an in-between where it's like, oh, you know, I kind of like that. No, it's either, no, I like it, or no, that was fucking weird. What the fuck was that?
Yeah, was, again, I understand its place in cinema, for sure. You know, David Lynch is, you know...
I love David Lynch, so that's also probably why, like, I love Twin Peaks, all of it.
David Lynch makes some good stuff. You know, he really does.
I love Mulholland Drive.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. No, he makes some good shit. Like, I'm not doubting David Lynch at all. But Eraserhead is just not one I can get behind. I thought it was just a little too artful weird for me. That's saying something, you know? It's just, no, I don't know, maybe like just like the black and white aspect of it, you know? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I love black and white movies. That's not, but the style in which it was done is what I'm getting at. The style in which it was done, I just didn't like it.
And it could have been David Lynch, you know, figuring himself out at that point too.
Sure.
And what
like an experimental
style
film.
Exactly. So that could have been a lot of it where there's a disconnect there from the audience. It's him experimenting. Yeah. But I think all of his stuff is him experimenting.
Oh, definitely.
I don't want to ever be inside David Lynch's head ever.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Like ever.
I'll pass. Yeah. All right, let's get at her.
So my number one is pretty freaking obvious, and it's a big movie. The Exorcist 2.
The Heretic.
From 1977. It has a 12% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yep.
Regan has psychic powers now, out of nowhere. Like...
She was possessed by a demon, and now she has psychic powers.
Okay, so yeah, there's astral projection, there's telepathy, there's demon possession again. I feel like this whole movie is self-parody without realizing that it's parody. Like, it doesn't know that it's making fun of itself, but it is making fun of itself. Yeah. Like, I laugh when I watch this movie. The dialogue is so bad. Like, so bad. Like, there's a part where the little girl that she had autism or she couldn't speak or whatever, and then she managed to help her speak through her telepathy, and the girl's like, you were possessed by a demon or whatever, and she's like, yeah, but it's gone now. Like, it's such, like, it's
so nonchalant.
Right. It's just such,
like, that was a spicy memory for you.
Non-intentional, funny dialogue. Like,
yeah. I've never seen it. But I did see, when I was doing a lot of research, I did see that pop up quite a bit.
You should watch this because, yes, it is hilarious, but it's not supposed to be. But it's unintentionally
funny.
Up my
alley.
And Richard Burton in this movie, like, I feel like he's acting in a whole different movie than the rest of the people. Like, what is his performance in this movie? He's one of the priests or whatever that's got to figure out what happened to the death of the priest from the first one. So there is some, like, you know, cohesion between 1 and 2 in the story plot. But, like, yeah, it's just... It goes off the rails, y'all. Like, I'll
have to give that one a watch.
I would, because...
I love bad shit like that.
Like I said, it's a very bad movie. It's not... Don't go into it thinking that any part of this is a good movie, but... Smoke a bowl and watch it. It's gonna be hilarious.
You know, and that's you know, really, like, again, with a lot of, like, the worst movies that we talk about, it's like sometimes you just can't see them as horror.
And I haven't even brought up James Earl Jones is in this movie, and I cannot properly describe to you his role. Like, it's something you just kind of have to see. I'm just gonna say locust costume, And leave it at that for those who know. Because, yeah, he shows up in a dream or somebody's dream in like a locust costume. Because there's lots of biblical stuff in this one. And there's like locusts and plagues and like, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah. Darth
All right.
Vader himself dressed up as a locust in this movie. Like,
Damn,
I don't.
James,
know.
come on, dude.
I can't even properly describe his part in this movie. All right, so that's the 70s in a nutshell.
Yeah, they were a crazy time, coming off the coattails of a lot of grindhouse films for sure. And then we will definitely get more into a little bit of grindhouse later on, you know.
History.
And, yep, a little bit of a history lesson for y'all.
In
and
the 60s?
Well, yeah, hell yeah. And we'll talk about, you know, the MPAA, you know, and we'll talk about the, you know, the censorship issues that were already, you know, starting to kind of become an issue.
Yeah.
And how much horseshit it was.
Fuck the Hays Code is all I have to say.
We both feel very strongly about the MPAA and the Hays Code.
Right.
Big time.
Fuck it all. Burn it to the ground.
I agree.
All right, so that's all we have. Make sure you like and subscribe. Talk to us in the comments if you agreed with us or if you know of a 70s movie that's even worse than the ones we've talked about.
Yeah,
because
we
would love to know.
I would love to know.
Ring the bell for notifications so that way you get notified of all of our shows coming up on Notebook TV. Had to remember which channel I'm working on right now.
Okay.
So that's all for the 70s. We'll see you next week for Worst of the 60s. Good night, good fright.